Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana, and today we are talking about Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, Episode 3. Renee is back to join me. Hi, Renee. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm great. I'm so excited. We are at the halfway mark. It's kind of crazy that we're here already. Oh, I'm like, how can we only have 3 more to go?
I know it.
Oh, man. But, in thinking about our question of the day, something kind of popped out to me in the midst of this, or actually toward the end. And I'm going to pose this question and then I'll explain it a little bit more later. And then we're going to answer this later on. So the question of the day is, how do you think a loss will affect Daryl this season? So, Renee, you're going to think about that. And we're going to have a discussion about everything that happened in this episode. And then we're going to revisit this. But friends out there, think about that. Think about Daryl and how a loss would impact him. So in episode 3, we started with a flashback. We learned more about Genet. And also we see Carol at Maison Mère, if I'm even pronouncing it even close to how you say it. And then we see Daryl and Isabelle fight for protecting Laurent. And all while realizing the extent that all these enemies of theirs, these villains, are willing to go to control and have power. So in this episode, Renee, I would love to know, like, what struck you, what caught your attention?
Well, of course, learning more about Genet was very interesting because we see this woman, how she is now. So it was very interesting to see how she was before the outbreak, or right at the onset of the outbreak. And so I always enjoy those stories and seeing how people, what they did before and then how they, even going into the outbreak, how they, what they were at that point. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And I thought it was funny too, because you start to feel a bit of sympathy for her. Then you realize, wait a minute, realize who we're talking about, what she's doing now. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I also was very curious how a janitor became this leader of this movement. That was not to say that janitors can't do wonderful things. It's just where she was to now. That's a huge change of occupation.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll learn more about how that actually came to be or not. But anyway, that really stuck out to me because I'm thinking, how did she get to that point? Especially as broken as we saw her at, and after losing her husband and stuff. And then so far, I think this episode has been the best of the 3 that we've seen so far. This to me felt more like season 1 of the series. A lot of action, seeing all, getting Carol and Daryl back into their fighting mode and all those things. Yeah, I think those were the ones that her story and then all the action and everything are the things that stood up the most to me, I think.
I love flashbacks so much. So I'm so glad that you brought this up because I think it just is so informative and we get to see these glimpses. And I remember you saying previously you liked seeing the onset of how things came to be. And I love that too. And it is interesting to see how did she get from a janitor to now. And it made me think of other people and characters. There was another character in The Walking Dead that somebody said, and I don't know, what probably wasn't Daryl, but it was somebody that they were just a regular person, but now they were not powerful or anything, but they were living a different role than they had previously lived. And it also made me think of Negan too, right?
Yeah.
Because he was a coach.
Yeah, high school era. Yeah, he just coached and gym teacher, wasn't he? Gym teacher too.
Yeah, gym teacher. Yeah. But that's like a gym teacher, and then he became Negan. So, people just changed their roles from who they were to who are they now. So it'll be interesting to see. And I thought they might give just a little bit more as to why Genet was from there to here, but we know she suffered a big, huge loss, and I knew that was going to happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, we know, especially with the glass and everything. We're like, and then when he was running up at the very beginning, I'm like, he's going to get eaten. He's going to get eaten. They're going to come from behind him. Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
always
felt that, and I felt for her, and I felt for him, and I'm thinking, "Oh, these poor people."
Mhm.
And she looked great. Even as a
Mhm.
janitor, she looked amazing.
I know, I
I
was
thought,
like,
"Ooh, she's so pretty."
yeah,
She's so
she's
pretty.
very lovely, yeah, so that was fun to see her
So
in that, yeah.
so, in watching this, I think one of the highlights for me was something actually that you brought up last week. Okay, so it's Carol lying.
Mhm.
So I know it's not good. I know in regular life, I don't like it when people lie. I don't like liars at all, like at all. But here and with Carol, I'm like, I'm loving her lies. It just comes out of her mouth so freely, and she's so good at it. And my mouth is like hanging, and I'm like, Carol, this is so good. You're so good at it. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she's telling the truth. She's telling the truth. And then all of a sudden, this big fat lie comes out. I'm like, oh my God, she is a genius.
Yeah,
She's genius.
and see, I don't mind when
So,
she lies to the bad guys, I'm fine with that.
yes,
It's
yeah,
when she lies to Ash, that's what
yeah,
makes
true. Yeah, but man, oh man. So that to me
Mhm,
was, I was excited to see
mhm,
her just adapt and,
mhm.
tell her lies and her truths and whatever else. But I thought that was something that stood out to me that I enjoyed seeing. So again, we have like two places that
Mhm.
everything is happening at. We have the ceremony at the nest, and then we have, Carol's mission at Maison Mare. What do you want to talk about? What stuck out to you?
I'll start with the nest because I think that they're all losing their minds at that place. I tell you, from our first introduction to this nice community that just, thinks this little boy is going to do something miraculous to this whole twisted, it's like, what's
Yeah,
happening? How did I go from that? But then, then they turn on Daryl and his group and then Sylvie. And I mean, then they want to have this child bit to prove that he's whatever they think he is kind of thing. I mean, they're just losing their minds. So of course was just kind of crazy how that had morphed into something completely different than when we were first introduced. And then, Sylvie, oh, that was just heartbreaking because I really liked her, but I could tell, like, what's coming kind of thing.
yeah,
And, but I like how they showed, despite what everybody else was doing, she still held to her beliefs. She prayed for strength. She prayed for that courage to do whatever she had to do to save, and she literally meant do whatever she had to do to try to save it, even if it brought her death. She was willing to do
yeah.
that because, she, I don't think bought into their craziness, but she still felt that he was destined for something special. And so I liked seeing that little story for her just to show her bravery and willingness to die for her friend if need be, and I was shocked, but I guess not so surprised then that they used her walker as in the ceremony because it was like, how again twisted is this group to do
Right.
gosh, So, I think it's just one of those things where Los Sang's true colors have just finally begin to show, and whatever is twisted and whoever. I still wonder, is there another master puppeteer involved in this? Somebody like above them? Maybe not, but I just feel like maybe there is someone else pulling the strings there. Yeah. Oh, and then for him to even to drug Laurent, he's like, here, take tea. It'll make you re. I'm like, dude, you're drugging a child. What are you doing?
I didn't understand that because wouldn't you think that would, inhibit him? Like if you really believe everything that you're saying and you want him to live, right? Because if something happens to him, that's like devastating. So why do you think giving him something is going to help your cause? I don't
Yeah,
understand that part.
that
Unless
I
he
didn't.
didn't want him to fight, but then you're still not helping your cause if he
Yeah, I
can't use all his wits about him.
Mhm. Yeah, I didn't understand that either. I was gonna look up he said has something in it. I was
Yeah,
gonna look that up and I forgot to see
yeah.
what the, effects of it would be. And then yes, so he go ahead. Were you saying?
No, I was gonna ask you, do you think Laurent knew what was going to happen? Like the actual that they were actually going to have a walker bite him. Do you think he knew that? Because I didn't, but then I wasn't sure.
I don't think so. I don't think that was ever explained to him. They kept talking about the ceremony, and I don't think so, because I think he was, you couldn't tell, I guess the shock, I think, was of seeing Sylvie, but was it also shock of seeing a walker come at him? I didn't know when they take her hood off.
I'm sure it's Sylvie, right?
Yeah.
Because this is one of your caretakers, someone that you cared about.
Yeah. So he could have been shocked about both, that, oh no, this is what they're planning on doing. But I don't think he was ever told that's what they were doing. It's just this ceremony, because he said, take it in and bask in, I forget how Lo-Sing worded that to Laurent. He said, this will help you relax, and just make sure when you're there, you just take it all in, but he didn't tell him what was happening. So yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Lo-Sing, like I said, he's just, his true color just came out. Now, now he wants to torture Daryl and Isabelle to get the information he needs to locate him, Laurent. But again, I'm like, okay, so are you still going to try? Why do you want now? Because are you still going to try to go ceremony? It failed and everybody sees, and it's just odd. Like, why still wants him to do this, And so anyways, I thought the whole nest was just crazy.
Crazy. It was. And yes, I agree with you on Sylvie. We knew something could happen to her. We didn't want it. We're like, no, please don't have anything happen to her. But you're right. She went out with all her beliefs. She still prayed for him and wanted everything to go well. And I love how she's the one who was searching for him. I loved all the fighting. I thought it was so cool when they finally got in.
Yeah.
Although I kept saying, you're not shooting him in the head, because I talked about this last week too. I'm like, can you shoot somebody? Can you shoot him in the head? Because I'm thinking there's still people here that you care about. Not everybody, I think, is on the same page. Maybe they are, but still. Now this whole beautiful place is going to be full of walkers, because once you kill them, they're going to turn into, or the people are going to turn into walkers. So I don't know why that's always in the back of my brain. Shoot them in the head. Shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
They won't. They keep just shooting at, their bodies. Yeah, wherever it is. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but thinking about what happens in the next episode, who's to say what's going to be left? They better not ruin this beautiful place,
Yeah.
Beautiful, place. So I don't know, but where Carol's at, man. She's working her way through there, and it's just great to see her, and she sees what they are doing on the research and what these, which I love, because this gets her caught up to speed, right? One, you get to see, Genet is doing this with all her people, and then she sees what the result is. You don't have to learn like the way Daryl had to learn, just by seeing and fighting and such. But she gets a speed course through learning about it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, she makes a friend who ends up betraying her because he's trying to save his husband, which, okay, makes sense. But I hate it when people betray our people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, like we had talked about last week, how Codron is the one who gives her the information that she needs. But it was interesting. I also wanted to bring up, because we had talked about Genet's backstory, but also that scene where they show that one guy who throws his food on the floor.
Yeah.
Because he's not being very nice to the people that served him. And of course, she can relate because she used to mop the floors. She's like, I know what it's like when you have somebody who disrespects you and your job and what you're trying to do. And so she makes him eat off the floor. And I'm thinking, one, Carol's all, you're this woman. Okay, I know what I need to contend with. But also, in a way, protecting that, not protecting, but, seeing the side of that server. Of seeing that and just kind of exerting her muscle here of what she can do. And it was interesting that the woman that was in her backstory is now like her right-hand woman, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
That
yeah.
was interesting. The something you meant. Oh, the one thing I thought was really cool too is when Genet, she shakes his hand and they're gonna part, they pan out and you see Carol kind of has a smirk on her face that's pretty much mirrored of Mona Lisa. And I feel like it was kind of like a thing with Genet saying that she looks like somebody who's withholding something, that the Mona Lisa looks like she's someone withholding something, almost alluding to like, yeah, that she knows Carol's not telling her everything or something. So I thought that was really cool how they did that.
Oh, I know. That Janae, she is so, like, she's too smart for her britches, you know?
Yeah, she can read people. Whatever else has gone on in her life, she can read people for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had seen, or I think they played it in part of the trailer. Remember how you and I were talking about how she figured out that Codron was the person, or had let go Daryl and the others? And because they showed in one of the trailers that she says, I can tell by your eyes or people's eyes if they're telling the truth or not.
It was kind of the
And
recap
so,
at the beginning
yes,
of the
I
episode, the
think
recap kind
so.
of thing. Yeah.
So it was like perfect because I'm like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I needed to hear because that's
Yeah.
what I
'Cause
wanted to
we were,
know. And
yeah.
then yeah. And then it made me think about Carol too. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
shoot, but Carol's so good.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it's just that she knows that people can be not always tell the truth. People can be manipulative and, just trying to stay one step ahead. I'm really curious as what is going to be her downfall because we know there's something, right? There's always something about
Mhm.
somebody cares about
Right.
someone or something. uh what's that going to be? Because I don't know that we've quite put our finger on that yet. It'll be interesting to keep moving forward to see what
Mhm.
happens. But it was kind of cool seeing Carol trying to get on that horse. And I thought to myself, when she went over to the cars and you saw the three horses in the background, I'm like, Carol, get the horse. And then she goes over to him and she picks the tallest one.
Yeah.
I'm like, you pick the tallest horse. And then when she goes down that area, I don't know what it is, kind of a tunnel, I'm thinking
Mhm.
she's going to hit her head. She's going to knock herself off that horse. But
Oh my goodness.
I wondered how that was filming it, like,
Mhm.
being the actress that she is,
Yeah.
getting on that horse and riding it down that
Yeah.
tunnel of sorts. I would love to see how that happened and how it
Mhm.
came about, how it went, and what she thought, and the horses and all that. So,
Yeah. I wonder how much she actually did if her stunt double does most of it.
yeah, right,
So it'd be fun. Yeah, it would be interesting to see all that. One thing
yeah,
you said was something that reminded, I think, Carol and Janae are kind of alike because they're both very powerful women. They both have endured a lot of loss and they kind of both are good at manipulating and, kind of reading people and knowing more than you think they do kind of thing, So I mean, they're very different. They're very different in a lot of aspects, but like they do have a lot of similarities as well that kind of makes them good opponents, I guess.
yeah. Adversaries? I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there's always themes throughout all of these seasons and episodes. And so, did you see any themes that stuck out to you?
I go back to Sylvie because I just liked her. I know she wasn't any powerful plot line or anything, but she was just sweet and she was loyal and all these things. So, for me with her, it was her sacrifice. I saw her with her, being sacrificial, doing whatever she had to do because she believed that Laurent was destined for something great. Whatever that is. I don't think she had maybe a preconceived notion of what that was though. She just knew everyone thought he had something and she believed that and wanted to believe
Yeah.
that. But I loved her, that I saw that sacrifice in her. Of course we see survival with Daryl and Carol. They're both fighting again for survival. Carol pretty much for her own self to find Daryl, and Daryl, he's got all these people that he's got to help try to protect with,
Yeah.
Isabelle and Laurent and Fayu and all that kind of stuff. And then I liked the faith because I saw Sylvie with her faith that God would assist her in whatever ways whatever she needed to
Yeah.
do. And she laid that out and was faithful there. And then Laurent put his faith in Losang's beliefs.
Yeah.
He believes I'm something special. He even mentioned he kind of liked feeling,
Yeah.
which as a young boy, yes, who wouldn't like to feel special. And then we also see that Genet, she puts her faith in the science of everything. And she thinks that scientists can figure out ways to create this army for her, and she's going to be able to control it, which that will be interesting to see how it goes. So, yeah. So those were some of the themes I thought kind of stood out to me.
Yeah. Those are good ones. I saw all of those too. And I also saw the leadership styles that everybody has here. So with Lasang, delusions of leadership, because he sees himself as a savior. He really does. And, he does believe that Laurent is the divine power, but he really wants to use that.
Yeah.
And so he leads the nest with this warped sense of superiority. And it's shown through what he does with Sylvie. I mean, that is like crazy. I mean, he really does believe himself, because you think about it. Okay, we had to kill her. Oh, let's use her. He's gone off the deep end. He really has. And that's what power does to a lot of people. They go off the deep end. And then with Genet, it's, she's so calculated in everything that she does. And like you had said, she uses science and, manipulation to gain power with experimenting on these walkers. And she's also very cold and she's very strategic. And that's why I'm wondering, like, what's going to bring her down, unless it's that, because sometimes you want power so bad that you just you get blinded by everything else. And then that is what ends up bringing you down. And so, yes, Carol and Genet might have some things in common, but with Carol, she is doing all this and she has this bold leadership, but it's because she cares about people. That is why she does it. That's what motivates her. She's not trying to be a leader just for ambition's sake. She's doing it because she cares about Daryl.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about it. It's so funny. I was driving home and my brain is thinking about Carol came all this way for Daryl. When he better jump up and down for joy when he sees her, because who else does this?
Yeah.
Who else does this? This is a long way. Of course, Michonne did it for Rick too, right? So it's just that power of love that just keeps you going, looking for these people. And then with Daryl, it's interesting because at first I thought Daryl was kind of a reluctant leader, but I think that's what he used to be. I think it has changed, especially with this series. I feel like he's more adaptive, and I think he's that because he tends to step up a lot more. He will step up to protect, and he will be a fighter when he needs to be, and he will be a leader when he has to be. And so, he's just up for whatever the challenge is. And one of the things that I loved about Daryl on the Walking Dead series was that he always adapted to whatever group he was in. They always ended up really embracing him, bringing him in, and he just, adapted. And it's funny because Carol does the same thing. They're two different people. They kind of have different approaches, but they still both do the same thing. They're both so adaptive. So, I just love that about them. So that was the theme that I saw.
Yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts about this episode?
So, you kind of just still wonder about Daryl and Isabelle and their little blossoming romance. I don't know if this is like a big lasting thing, but I feel that at this moment, they both need someone. And I mean, obviously fondness there, or it wouldn't be where it's at, with the kiss and things like that, kisses. And I feel like, it'll just be interesting to see where that evolves and stuff. And so I thought that was a really sweet moment with them, putting out their hands and telling the story. And so I really liked that. It was tender. And it's like, I've never been one that feels like Daryl has to have a relationship with somebody. I've always been like, he's kind of just his own guy and he kind of loves everybody and that kind of thing. And I've always liked that about Daryl. And so I've never really wanted him to be with anyone just because I've just felt not the right person. And again, I don't know if Isabel's the right person, but I just like this for him, that he's found, he's got to be just freaking out. He never even left Georgia until Rick and them all went to Virginia or wherever it was. That was the first time he'd ever left Georgia. He's not like this traveling guy, And I know his life's changed a lot since then, but I like this, whatever it is for him right now with him. I really like it. And that's one of my big thoughts. But another one, I'm still like, Codron, what's going to happen with this guy? He's like half beaten to death. His fingers are missing. His eyeball, I think, might be missing. I'm not sure it's missing or just injured really bad. And did you hear her say, did you hear Genet say that she heard what Codron told Carol? Did I hear that?
Oh,
because
I didn't hear that.
What you told I thought she said, well, my former friend told you or something like that. So I feel like she had spies listening.
Well, I wondered if, so we didn't talk about the ending that we saw because I want to bring up, God, there's so much to talk about. See, we still have so much to talk about. But, okay. So when Carol tells her the lie, look, I want to kill Daryl Dixon. And she says, okay, come with me. We're going to go here. They drop everybody off. And then Carol soon realizes, oh shit, that research guy with the syringe is here. And he's going to be injecting people. Yes, it can't be good. So, okay, now it is revealed that she's going to, she tells everybody, oh, you'll be heroes because basically we're going to kill you all. And then we're going to inject you guys. You're all going to become my super walkers. And then I think someone said to her, oh, but we haven't really quite figured out the control of this or whatever it is. So Carol's all, oh shit. And that's when she goes over to talk to Genet, and Genet says, oh, I'm giving you what you want. You're going to get to kill Daryl Dixon. And Carol's all, I don't want to kill him as a walker. And my thought was at that moment, wait, did somebody tell Genet this, or is she just so wacko she really thinks she's helping Carol? Like, I had no idea, but I thought if somebody told her, it could have been that woman that she ended up, that server person, because she kept coming over saying, we got to go. And then Carol kept saying, trying to get information out of Codron. So maybe that person said, hey, that woman was talking to him.
Yeah. I might have to go back and because I thought it and then I didn't have time to go back to look, but I thought that she said something about what the information my former friend told you or something. And then I was like, wait, it did. Yeah. So anyway, that would explain how they got to where they were. But yeah, that ending was crazy. Oh my gosh, that was so crazy. But Codron, though, I mean, like we saw in an early trailer, he was on the street. So when you and I talked, I think the last episode we were talking about, we thought we heard him, Dixon, someone yelled Dixon, we thought it was his voice. And so I just wonder, okay, if he's getting out of there, whose side is he going to be on, and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him.
Are you really going to be on the side of the people that just chopped off your fingers? I don't know. Maybe not.
But if she has something to hold over him, I don't know. She's very manipulative and very, very powerful. Obviously, she's making these men stew off the floor, and with he didn't question it, and he was a big guy. He was like, okay, I'll the floor, So I mean, he doesn't want.
Well, he's there. He's there, isn't he?
He was right by Carol. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, he's the one who's going to protect Carol next to me.
He's going to block the bullets so Carol doesn't get hit. Yeah, he's too big. It won't go through him. Yeah,
by accident, but he's going to do it anyway.
He didn't volunteer for it. That's the job he had. So, anyways, Codron just really. I feel like he's going to play an important role somewhere in here because they keep showing him and he hasn't died too. I love him. I mean, I don't know him, but I like him. Yeah. And I hope he does. Yeah. Comes on Daryl's side somehow, or else, I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to bring him up because I feel like he's going to have an important role because they keep showing him, like, okay, something's going to happen with him, or they would have, or he just let him die. So, yeah, those are my other thoughts.
So you had asked last week about what Genet's ultimate goal is. You may have looked it up already by now, but I was looking, and she actually wants to rule France. And I believe she has, I'm bad at names, but Charles de Gaulle, is it? De Gaulle, who was a famous leader, and that's her inspiration. And I think they even called it after him. They called a day. There's a day that they named after him. And then also that the reason she wants Laurent is because people are religious, and she wants Laurent, who signifies hope and religion, to be right beside her to say, look, follow me, because look who's sitting next to me. So that's why she wants Laurent. And that's why she wants to rule. And she wants to rule with these super walkers, which not a good idea, lady. They're gonna get out. They're gonna get out of control, and they're gonna eat you. That's probably what it's gonna be, right? Because I said, what's gonna be her downfall? She's probably gonna be like, oh, we got to use them. And you know what I thought felt careless to me? Of course, there's a lot of things that are careless, right? But when Carol was watching them inject the walkers, those doctors were right there, like next to him. And
it was thinking, dumb. Like, why aren't
even
they rising a fence or something?
Yes.
I thought the same thing.
That's crazy. Anyway, I also wanted to comment on what you were talking about, Daryl and Isabelle, because I thought it was a very sweet moment. I thought it was very nice when they were before they got into the nest. They were talking, and they were talking about America or fireflies or whatever it was. And I was explaining what that was. And then again, she's all, just tell me something. I want to hear your voice, which I thought was very sweet. I'm like, oh, that's so romantic. And he tells her what it's like. So now we know, okay, so he wants to bring her to America. That's sort of in his mind, the plan, right? So he's not like, okay, I'm going to live here now. So he knows, and she knows that this is where, hopefully they will end up, because he says, oh, Laurent can go to school. And she's all, what will I do there? And then when they put their hand on the, whatever is that wall, and they touch, and then he sees her hand, he goes and he touches it. I'm like, oh my God, this is killing me. This is killing my heart. Very good. I'm so glad that they feel that closeness. I don't know. It just made me feel good that they could do that. And of course she says, je t'aime. And he doesn't, I'm like, and I didn't want him to say it. I'm like, not that I don't want him to feel that. It just wouldn't have felt quite right yet, so I'm glad he
very
very
early.
But man, I'm like, whoa. Okay. But this is going to lead me to the question of the day, because what I want to say here is, this is the whole reason my brain was working a little overtime. For a minute, when she was sitting there, she seemed very either beaten down or depressed or hurt. And I thought, is she bit? That was my first reaction. I don't think she is, but my thought went, is she bit? I'm like, are they going to show that she's bit? Like, did something bite her? Because she just felt like she wasn't herself. So when she tells Daryl, tell me a story, I thought, oh my God, she's going to die. She's going to die. Seriously? And then I thought, oh, that's why they kissed, because she's not going to make it. I honestly thought, maybe not right at this moment, but I'm wondering, maybe she's not going to make it. And it hurt my heart for him, because I'm like, oh, Daryl, you can't lose another person. But it would almost make sense, because nobody wants Daryl to be with anybody, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not really sure how people are feeling after it's been a week. after it's been a week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You might know more of the pulse of what's happening out there. So the question of the day is, how do you think a loss would affect Daryl this season?
I've been thinking about this the whole time, because I feel like on one hand, Daryl handles loss about the same every time. He goes off on his own, does his thing, and tries to deal or do whatever. But he's in a very different state right now. I feel like he's very fragile because he's not with his family. I mean, he's never had a family till the apocalypse, and then he finally finds his family, and losing Rick was brutal on him. That was just brutal. And then he's betrayed by Leah, which again was just an awkward thing anyway, but it happened to him. It was something he endured. And then he lost her to, all the mess. And then, she, died and everything later then too. And so now, he's pushed into a situation he doesn't want to be in. Nobody he knows. He has to meet all these new people. And now he's thrown into a bunch of mess with all this going on. I kind of think it would, and not even whether it be Isabelle or Laurent. I think if he loses either one of them, or both of them, I kind of feel like that could be, I guess I don't know exactly what I think it would affect him a lot more than anything else, just because of his state of mind right now, especially if it would happen before him and Carol are reunited. And then he would feel completely lost and hopeless.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. So I don't think, and I hope, oh my gosh, I hope not, that he wouldn't lose Laurent. And he says it in the preview.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to lose him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would lose Laurent, but who's to say?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say something could happen to the both of them? But I did think, like I said, I thought, oh my gosh, she could die. And finally, he's feeling something for somebody. And he cares about them deeply. And what will that do? Of course, I'm thinking Carol's going to be there to help him through this. She's going to be there, which is going to be what at least gets him through it. If he were to suffer a loss, this is what's going to get him through it, that he has somebody there who knows him and can help carry him through it, even though he will be devastated. So I want to bring up one more point, but I'm going to want our friends to answer this question in a minute. I want to pose it to you out there. But one thing I wanted to bring up that I was going to bring up a minute ago and I didn't, and this is also with Daryl, because you made me think about it, because you said Daryl has lost a lot of people. Mind you, he lost Rick, right, on that bridge. He was like trying to save him, and he was bawling when he blew up. And as far as he knows, Rick is gone. And at the season finale of The Walking Dead, he takes off to go find Rick, right? I mean, that's what he's trying to find. Well, I had read an article that said that they felt like this episode changed the canon, because he says to Isabelle, I left and I don't know why. And people are questioning why he said that, because Daryl did know why he left. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that, why he said that to Isabelle. And of course he tells Isabelle, but I found something. I believe that's what he tells her. So anyway, I just want to put that out there, because you're right. Yeah. Daryl has lost a lot of people along the way. And, here, how would it affect him here? Yeah. How is he going to deal with that? It's hard to lose anybody. It's hard to lose anybody you love. So friends out there, I don't know, what do you think? You can leave us a comment here on YouTube. You can reach out to us on social media. You can even call us at 669-223-8542 and let us know how you think Daryl would cope. Could he? Would he? Is Carol going to be there for him? Let us know what you think, because we would love to know. Okay, we are at our segment, and the award goes to. So, Renee, I would love to know what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
I love Daryl's fight scene, like you had kind of mentioned earlier, because it was just so good to see him back in that, even though it was kind of like they're coming at him one at a time kind of thing. It's like, okay, how very polite of them, right? Kind of thing. But no, I just love to see him, fighting, and he's like finding all these different things to kill people and wrap them up in and do. I just love that whole scene and thought it was just really, really fun to watch Daryl and all that action again.
Well, guess what mine is?
It was just so good.
Same. I know we don't always have the same exact one, even though we love the same one. But no, this is it. This was
Mhm.
it. Him in that mode, killing all those people. I thought it was so cool. And I said to my husband as we watched it, I said, "This reminds me of a video game." I said, "And I want to be Daryl in this video game." But no, you're right. It was like one person, then the other,
Mhm.
and you go up the stairs and you do another person, get them here and stab them, and you're right, get whatever you could, and this and that. I'm like, holy crap, Daryl, that's a lot of guys that you're killing left and
Mhm.
right and up and down. So I loved seeing Daryl in that mode. I thought it was
Mhm.
such a cool scene. So, yep, I
And
agree
maybe
with
next
you.
week they'll all rise up as walkers and help attack when Genet and everybody arrives or whatever.
Um, true. All right. Well, no, because then they'll probably shoot him with the damn
Yeah.
injection. I don't know. So, what are you anticipating for next episode? Because, oh, so much happened. What do
Mhm.
you think?
Yeah, obviously the preview shows us the fight's coming to the nest, so they're gonna arrive there. And I don't understand how Janae thinks she's gonna handle this army of the dead, that she's bringing with her. I mean, maybe she has a plan, but I mean, all of their testing has proven that they are not controllable. They have to kill them immediately because they're too powerful or whatever. But maybe since we saw that test and this one, maybe they've dial the dose down enough that I don't know. So I think the next episode is gonna be very, very interesting because I think the fight's it's gonna be all consuming and probably dominate the episode. So it's kind of hard to know exactly what's gonna happen. I'm afraid we'll probably lose some people, and Carol, I obviously will survive. Just know it's gonna be brutal, I believe.
Yeah, I can't even imagine if they do get the injections in those people because I was hoping that maybe the shooting would start and people would turn into, the regular
Mhm.
zombies or walkers, I should say. But if they get that into them, that's going to be, and they're out
Yeah.
on loose, that's going to be really scary. And okay, now this is the thing I want to know. If one of those bites another person, do those people become a regular walker or do they
Mhm.
become
Yeah,
these variant
don't
walkers?
and I don't think they know because I don't know that they've maybe tested that even. I mean,
Right,
maybe they
right.
have, that we haven't seen, but yeah, that's a very good question because then it's gonna be crazy because even
I'm
if they
scared.
yeah, exactly. It's, it yeah, it can be very interesting.
And who do you think it is that lets Daryl go? Or is it gonna be somebody we don't know? I almost tried to slow down that trailer, and it looked like somebody with, like, curly-ish hair up to here, and I don't know who that is.
I thought in one trailer we saw that it was a little boy.
Maybe it
Because like
was.
I thought one of the early trailers or teaser trailers or whatever, way before the episode had first started, the season started, there was a little boy in the thing and he held the keys up. And then Daryl goes with the chain, but maybe it was something else when how they make you think this or that. But I didn't recognize the little boy.
Right.
So I don't know what that meant. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be because I don't know who else would have access to the keys. There's nobody else. I mean, Fayu's cave with Laurent. Isabelle is who knows where she's at with Losang. Who else do they have as I mean, I don't think they have any more allies because Emil Turden was dead and Sylvie's gone and I don't know who else it would and I don't even know if
Yeah.
it is this little boy, who is this little boy?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
and I don't know if he's that little either, because the person looked like they were probably maybe Laurent's age-ish or older, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not
Maybe, yeah.
and I thought it could have been a young woman, but it could have been a boy. It could have been a boy. I'm not really sure because
Yeah.
it was so
Yeah.
fast that I couldn't
Right. It was
really
super quick.
tell.
So, yeah, it'll be
And
interesting.
and the noise, what you just said, so that when they showed the keys and then you hear Daryl make that noise, so it's him clanging his
I thought that
cuffs.
I don't know if it was in the one that was at the end of this episode or if it was a teaser before, but he kind of hold that chain that's holding him to the wall. He
Yeah,
held it up like the lock, like unlock me kind of thing.
but
And
it also made a clang noise or something. And
well,
I'm like,
it would be
maybe
the
it's
chains
yeah,
on the wall or
yeah.
whatever, or together or something. And so I guess I don't remember if that was in the preview for this next episode or if this was the earlier teasers that I saw him kind of like
Maybe
unlock me.
both, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So
So
yeah, I'm really curious because right, Daryl has to get out of these cuffs.
yeah,
Carol has to get out from these being zombified.
yeah.
So, they're both in a predicament here, and so
Oh,
something has to help them both. Isabel, oh, you know what though? Isabel's going to get Lassane with that thing that she got with her foot.
yeah, yeah,
So we know that's probably going to happen, but then what's going to happen after that? I'm not really
yeah. Because
sure.
will be enough to like take him out because they released the new promo photos for the next episode, and he's standing there. Losang is standing there, and he's got like you can tell he's been
Like
in a
blood
skirmish.
or
There's something, yeah, yeah. So he's been in a skirmish, and whether who knows what timeline that's in. I don't, how they
yeah.
they like to give us just enough information to confuse us. So I
Yeah.
always take all of those promos, so the first promos, the promo images with a grain of salt, just because it's very deceiving oftentimes.
Yeah. Yep. Man. Okay. Well, I'm excited. I thought this was a great episode. I was in it, and so I'm
Mhm.
loving it. It's so oh my gosh, I can't believe we only have 3 more to go, and
I
I
know.
think a lot's gonna happen this next episode. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to see everybody. So, I'm excited. Yes. All right. That's a wrap up of episode 3. We look forward to episode 4. Renee, I know you're busy, but do you have any TV or movie recommendations?
Well, if you've listened to any of the previous podcasts, you'll know I am very, very late to the game with 2 series that I'm working through. Lost and Game of Thrones, and I'm loving both of them. And if you've never watched them and enjoy shows, I mean, they're both phenomenal. They're, I, I can't even explain to you how good both of them are. They're just outstanding. And if you, like me, are late to the game, you can still get on board and watch them because it's very much worth it. But that's about the only
Okay.
good time.
Well, remind me now, where are you at? What season? Are you in
Lost,
Lost? And what season?
I think Lost, I'm at the end of 2. I think I'm maybe on the season finale of 2 because those seasons are long, like 20
Oh,
something.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say 20 something. Yeah.
yeah. And then Game of Thrones, I want to say mid season 5-ish, somewhere right in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's yeah.
Oh,
Although you know what,
so
I think maybe we finished 5 now that I think 'cause something crazy happened right there at the end. So I think we may have just finished 5 now that I think about it. So anyway, yeah, very good. I love it. I can't believe in Lost, I'm shocked at all the Walking Dead actors. I keep watching and I'm like, wait a minute. And so there's all these Walking Dead actors that pop up. They don't necessarily have roles. I guess one of them did, but
yeah.
yeah. So anyway, it's fun to see those faces. And of course, this was very many years ago and everybody looks much
Yeah.
younger. So yeah, but yes, enjoying them immensely.
I love those shows. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on those. Okay, last week I think there was an Oprah special with Riley Keough on
Mhm.
CBS. I was so looking forward to this. I loved it because Riley Keough is Elvis's granddaughter, and she helped Lisa Marie finish the book because
Mhm.
unfortunately Lisa Marie had passed,
Mhm.
and she was writing a book, and so when she was still living, she had asked Riley to help her finish the book.
Mhm.
And then now that she has passed, Riley felt it was her duty to do so. So she is, meeting with Oprah to discuss this. And so Oprah and Lisa Marie had been friends, and they kidded around about being cousins because Oprah had relatives by the name of Presley.
Oh, wow.
So they joked that they were cousins all the time. And so anyway, it's only an hour. Please go look for it. It's really informative. I already love Riley Keough from all of her acting that she does. And I loved her on Daisy Jones and the Six. And so good. I know, so good. Go watch it, you guys, if you haven't seen it yet. And I follow her on Instagram, but just hearing her talk, she's a mom now, she's married, but she is so got it together. Like she has got it together, and she is running Graceland now. And I just admire her. I think she's really amazing. And I'm so glad because, you never know how people will end up, their personalities and power and money and everything else. But she feels so grounded to me. And so this was a great special. So go check that out. I'm continuing to watch Tulsa King, which is season 2. It's on Paramount Plus. This is with Sylvester Stallone. It's a great series. And so I wasn't sure if I had mentioned it, so I just wanted to bring it up because I just watched an episode last night. It was good. I'm loving The Voice. The Voice this season has 2 new coaches with Michael Bublé, who's one of my favorite artists. I love him. I saw him in concert. He's amazing. It's Christmas music. So he is so funny on The Voice. So funny. And then Snoop Dogg is another judge. And I don't know Snoop Dogg personally. Not like personally, but what I mean is I don't know his personality that well. He is hilarious, and he is so smart, and he is getting a lot of great artists. So it's great, this dynamic. So I just love The Voice, and I would say tune in if you can, because it's a great family show. I mean, I love it. So I started to watch this because my son was watching, and he says, "Hey, Mom, want to sit and watch this with us?" So I did, and I'm probably going to mess up the name. Uzumaki. It's on Max. It's an anime series, and it's from a manga in the late 90s. And it's about a town of people slowly going insane over increasing obsessions over a spiral shapes. And it's funny, but after I saw this episode, which was actually pretty good, and it has great, like, Rotten Tomatoes, like people are loving this. But what's funny is I keep seeing spirals everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God,
No.
that's a spiral. That's a spiral. So it's just very interesting, but it's pretty good if you want some anime. But I saw a great movie. Actually, I saw 2 good movies, but this movie is called Caddo Lake on Max. It's produced by M. Night Shyamalan. It's starring Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon. I'm not going to hardly say anything because I don't want to give anything away, but it is a mystery. It's categorized a horror. There isn't really a lot of horror in it, but it's definitely bizarre and a mystery. And it's super intriguing, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. It got me from the get-go. Like the first couple minutes, I was like there, and it was great. And I loved it. And I like these type of stories. So I don't want to give anything away. It's about a guy. It's been a couple years, but he's mourning the loss of his mother and kind of investigating like what really happened to her. And him and his dad are having some issues about how to handle after the mom has passed away. And then on the other hand, you have this young woman who's maybe young college age, and she is at odds with her mother. And she has a young stepsister who goes missing, and she's like trying to find her. And so it's how these 2 stories may or may not be related. So you have to watch. So it's really, really good. And then I watched The Lonely Planet on Netflix with Laura Dern and Liam Hemsworth. And I really like this too. So this is considered a May-December romance, but I felt like it's not a rom-com. So it's not a comedy, but it is about love. And I liked it. I thought it was a good story. So I would recommend that one too. And I want to remind all of you to go check out our Screams in Focus. It's our Halloween series. We've been putting out episodes this month. We have 3 out, so please go check them out. Renee joined me in Iconic Women in Horror. There's also Mike Flanagan, Flaniverse podcast episode, and also Then and Now. And then look out next week, because here we come. We're talking about zombies and paranormal and all kinds of things. So please be sure to check out Screams in Focus, because we have some horror coming to you. All right, Renee, as always, thank you. You were on the road, and you are amazing for sitting with me and doing this podcast episode. I appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you. Of course, I didn't want to miss it. I kept thinking, I hope I'm not too tired to do it, because then I get so excited when we start talking. So it was great. But no, it's my pleasure. I just love it whenever you ask me to help podcast with you, because it's so much fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I love digging into The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, everything else. So it's great. All right. So thank you, and I hope you get some sleep and you have a good night.
Thank you.
And yes, and friends out there, we are so happy and thankful that you joined us. We hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, a smile, gave you some inspiration. Please share this podcast with a friend, because we would love more people in our community. And remember to go to screensinfocus.com and subscribe to stay up to date on everything. Remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.